invitation. I didn't see my email in time. And so I apologize to everybody for missing the previous engagement, but I'm glad I could be here with you now.
Yeah. Thank you. So nice of you, sir, for your words and for your generosity. I was talking to my students about you and what you did with me in past. So yeah, I'm so grateful that because of you, I'm here. I learned Golang. I started my whole new career, and you will be very happy to know that we already developed one international product, which is a Golang web hosting management software. So using my software, people can host their Golang application. So this is really a, great product for novice like our students, because they're just playing with Golang. So if they have an opportunity to host their application, I mean Golang web application in the cloud with a very low cost, like $1 or $2, that would be great, because people from our country, they all don't have any credit or debit card access, especially Visa or MasterCard access. So it would be very difficult for them to buy services from Amazon, DigitalOcean, or any other cloud platform. So that's why we bringing our own cloud network to our students. Thus they can practice, they can make their application deployed in the cloud, they can play around it, and they can feel how cloud computing works, and how they deploy their application in the cloud. And yeah, so that's how I am preparing the whole stuff, and everything starts from your contributions. If you didn't offer me free courses or your lectures, that would be very difficult for me, because back in 2016, if I clearly remember, there was only your video was only the content on Golang in the cloud. I googled a lot. Only whatever the topics I search on Google, it brings your video in front of me. So, and
Yeah.
I immediately jump into that. I communicate with you through Twitter, you remember, right? So, and you gave me an option, right? That was a really surprising moment for me. So at that point, I was so dedicated. If Todd McLeod, who never met me, who never know about me, if he can offer me free courses, free coupon, then why not me giving the same opportunity to my community people? So that's how my coding bootcamp ideas bring into my mind.
So Mustaine, I think this is a beautiful story, and I really appreciate what you just shared. And I'm gonna, if you're okay with it, Udemy, the platform where my courses are hosted, they were looking for a story sort of like this, where my teachings impacted somebody else, and then that impact led to my student going out and impacting other people, and they want to do a little video on it. And so I'm gonna, after this is over, email Molly at Udemy if you're available to. You and I would then do a video which they would share, kind of like a TV commercial about success. Would you be available for that?
Of course, sir. It's an opportunity
Okay.
for me, definitely, and I'm so
Okay.
honored that I can speak about you. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Thank you. So nice of you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean, that idea just came to me. So that's maybe just, sometimes things work just the way they need to work, and the doors open that need to open, and the connections get made that need to be made. So,
Yeah, sir. And
yeah.
sir, you remember, I was so desperate to working with you. Still, I want to work with you. So please give us an opportunity that we can make a
Yeah.
community. We can make a team, and
Yeah.
you lead our team, and we will move forward, sir. There are huge opportunity in the cloud computing field, and Golang is the perfect tool for that computational world. So why not?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and today we have more than 40 students around across the country, and most of them are have most of have their I mean they have programming knowledge in other programming knowledge. So they are not beginners, they are intermediate level developers, and some of them already know Golang. So it would be great if we give them a chance to use their brain to make a product and contribute or even contribute our product and uh, make it deploy to the cloud, and we offer for revenue. I think that would be a great. Yes, sir, please.
Can you, let's do a short little video here. You could just record Zoom. Don't start it just yet.
Okay.
But when I ask you to start it, I'll give a little introduction. And then I want you to share, I'll ask you a couple questions and you could just respond to the answers and we'll record that. And then we could stop the video. And then you could send me that video and then I'll send that video to Udemy and say, hey, Mustaine, I found a student who would be willing to do this commercial with us, this video with us. And, you know, it's the scenario where I impacted somebody and then he went out and impacted people and it had this ripple effect. So they would be interested in hearing that story. So let's just record that real quickly and they could see a little bit about you and see your enthusiasm. So go ahead and hit record.
Okay, sir.
Recording in progress.
Sir, go ahead, please.
Hi, Mustaine. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to meet all the students that you're teaching in your boot camp. And I asked you just now to record this so we could send a little video to Molly and Udemy, because I think it's pretty amazing what you're doing. And I think you could be somebody that you and I could be somebody that they might be interested in doing a little piece on to help share and promote this ripple effect that occurs where one person teaches something and then that impacts somebody and then they go out and they do something which impacts a bunch of other people. So I wanted you, and if everybody could just hit mute on their, except for Mustaine and I, if everybody could hit mute, please, because we have 50 people in here. So somebody's making some noise somewhere. If you could hit mute on your microphone. Or Mustaine, do you have a way to mute everybody except you and I?
Yes, sir. Just a second. We have to run it from beginning again. Just a second. I'm giving you as a Nasarul. Yes, sir. So yeah, I set you as a co-host. So you even can control this. I set Nasarul as well.
Is everybody else muted?
Yeah, sir. Not yet. Just a second. Nasarul, please take care of this and make sure no one gets unmuted until we allow them. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So would you please mute it first? Then we will continue again. Otherwise, it would be miss again.
Yeah, you can stop recording. We'll do another one.
Yeah.
Recording stopped.
All right, just start it up again.
Nasul, are you done? Let him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you muted all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, dear students, please mute yourself until we give you permission to talk, okay? And we are recording a session for Udemy, so it is very important, and it is very important for our academy as well, because Todd McLeod, professor from California State University, Fresno, he is with us. So he is with us means we have a guardian, so he is the pioneer in Golang teaching. So yeah, it's a great honor for us. So sir, I'm going to record it now.
Sounds good.
Recording in progress.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hi. So Mustaine, that was a great story you just shared. And I just asked you to hit record so you could share it again and I could pass it on to Udemy and Molly because they were interested in finding some stories like this where one teacher's teachings impacted somebody else who then had success and went out and impacted other people. And there's this ripple effect. So if you could share again, just, how we connected back in the day, and then also where your life has led and where you are now. I think they'd love to hear that.
Yeah. So hi, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to say something about you. So I clearly remember it was back in 2016 when I was searched online about Golang. So I heard that Golang term. Some of my friends or family members, he thought, hey, as you are an enthusiastic person, you should try Golang. So I thought, okay, let's try what is Golang. So I was just searching Golang, and I found that it is so hard at a beginning level, because before I was working with PHP and C Sharp, so it was really uh, new stuff for me. So and the syntax of Golang is kind of different at first, at least. So I was so it was at first, it gives me a thought that maybe I can't, but whenever I search Google, I found your video and I hit into your video and it pops up. I watch that video, and immediately it gives me a feeling that maybe I can learn Golang absolutely from the beginning, from the scratch. So that's how I found your channel, YouTube channel, and learn to code, right? Yeah, it's a learn to code, and I immediately subscribe and started watching all of the video you have created on Golang. So that's how I started. That's how my journey started on Golang. And after that, maybe 1 or 2 years later, I tried to reach you out through Twitter. I clearly remember that day. I was so excited. If I could have a chance to talk to my teacher, my dream teacher, Todd McLeod. So it was a dream for me, because I never thought I could connect to you directly. So I was just try to communicate with you through Twitter. I was not sure whether you are really going to accept it or receive it or not. Are you going to reply me back or not? But yeah, as I was so excited, so I just leave the message to you, and maybe the next day or within 2 days you replied. So I was so excited, and I was showing that message to my wife. Hey, see, he is my teacher. I learned everything from him, and he's messaging with me. So that's how I started, and that was a really, really, I mean, fascinating moment for me. Yes, sir. So yeah, and after that, you offered me
And
even
you
more. Yeah.
you asked me, what did you ask me when you messaged me? Do you remember?
Sir. Yeah, I remember.
You
I
asked
messaged.
for my course on Udemy,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yes.
like, can you please help me? I don't right now. If you could, help give me access to the course, that'd be so wonderful, right? And I was like,
Exactly.
sure, no problem. If you want to learn, I'm here to help.
Exactly, sir. And that was really, really a great experience for me, because as a student from Bangladesh, it was very tough to buy your course and pay via credit or debit card, because most of our country people don't have international master or debit card access. So it was very tough for us. So at that moment, when I asked you and you offered me back, it was really, really a great and unbelievable news for me, and I started watching on those on Udemy, and the more I watching, the more knowledge and the more confusion removed from my heart. So that's how I started. That's why I started thinking, if a man from America who never met me, who never know me, who never I never took his any class personally, so how he can help me, and how he reach out to me so generously. So if he can do a lot of things to me, which impacted a lot to my career, so why not I do this exactly same to my community students, to my community people, to my country. So that's what the coding bootcamp idea comes into my mind, and I started immediately. And that was another story. I also knocked you again. This, hey Todd, sir, we are going to host a free coding bootcamp in my community. Are you interested to join us as a mentor? And you immediately accepted that as well. Even you shoot a video, 20-second or 30-second video, you remember? So that was a huge impact on me, and I was started. And first in our first coding bootcamp, we got 1,600 students who signed up for Golang. Wow, it's a really awesome moment. So I never forget that, and that's how I started communicating with you. And yeah, and this is our second coding bootcamp. Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Well, I'm so happy to hear about the success you realized in your life, Mostain, and and the way you've also helped other people realize success in their life. And this is, really one of the most important things to our species and our humanity is being able to help each other and work together. And people helped me to get to where I am. And so it's just natural to help others, as I was helped. And then it's beautiful to see as you were helped, turning around and then helping other people. So I'm just really, I feel so wonderful that we've been able to get to know each other, and we've connected on opposite sides of the world. And we've been able to collaborate and work together, and help other people all around the world become more skillful and improve their lives. So I'll pass this on to you, to me. You have anything else you want to share before we hit stop?
Yeah, I think everyone should be generous and cooperate whenever it comes to education and knowledge sharing, because knowledge is something, if you share, it will increase. If you share more, it will increase more, and you never feel regret. So that's it. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you, sir.
All right. Love you, my friend.
Yeah, love you too, sir.
Recording stopped.
Okay, sir. I stopped my recording. So yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
So
We are feel free to raise any questions from our students, and please
sure.
take the lead for today, and please help our student as well. The same
Sure.
way you help me,
So
you motivate me. The same I
yeah.
want from my student as well.
So go ahead and hit record again, just in case there's anything that naturally comes up, and
Sure.
we'll have that video too, and we could pull an excerpt out of that.
Recording in
Okay,
progress.
sir. Go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. I'm very glad you're here. And a couple of things I want to share with you, and then we could have some questions and just some informal discussion. But the first thing I want to share with you is degrees, about degrees and how degrees lead to dollars. And I want to provide you with a pathway to earning a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in computer science from an accredited American university. So I want to tell you about that, because degrees, can really reinforce your credentials and help open up opportunities. I say degrees lead to dollars, and degrees open doors. So I'm going to share with you how to earn your bachelor's and your master's degree in computer science from an accredited American university for free or for a very minimal cost. So that's one of the things I'll share, because my main intention of being here today is just to, help you succeed. And as I shared with Mostain, I am only where I am today because people helped me, right? And it takes effort, and it takes work, and it takes grit, and it takes persistence. And sometimes, the road can feel so challenging and so daunting and so overwhelming. Life, right? You have kids, right? You got bills to pay, you got dishes to do, you got the garbage to take out, you got your normal job that you're doing to pay rent and put food on the table. And then, right, after all that's done, everybody goes to bed. You're like, let me put in one more hour and try to push the ball forward and learn a little bit something. So, 5 years from now, I'm in a better place. And if you're not in that place yet where you have all those demands, really put your efforts in as much as possible, as moving that ball forward, learning the skills you can learn. Gaining knowledge in programming is a wonderful thing to do. And also working on those degrees, because the degrees lead to dollars and degrees open doors. So, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the number one, and I need somebody, maybe Mostain, if you can make notes, just in case I forget what I'm going to talk about. You can say you didn't talk about this. So degrees lead to dollars. Degrees, we'll talk about degrees. And then we'll also talk about grit. So degrees and grit. And then we'll also talk about innovation. Okay. And generative AI. So innovation and generative AI. So degrees and grit and innovation and generative AI. And then I'll share a little blessing with all of you. And then after that, we will have just informal discussion. So that's sort of the game plan of what we'll look at and talk about. So the first thing is degrees lead to dollars. There's a project that was created by several significant universities, including Harvard and New York Harvard in America. and New York University in America and the University of Edinburgh in Scotland created an online university, and it's accredited, and it's in America. So it's an American online university that's accredited. And what accreditation means in America is it means that it has been vetted. No, it has been vetted. It has been vetted, and it's been given the thumbs up by the authorities that this is a legitimate institution, and that the degrees from this institution have merit and are valid for any application career processes, right? And so this university was created by these other universities to provide individuals all around the world the opportunity to earn degrees from an accredited American university for free or for a very low cost. And the name of the university is University of the People. And I'm going to see here if I could share my screen, and we'll just take a look at it, because, you guys all see that? See my screen?
Yes,
My
sir.
Yes, sir.
calendar, and Martin Luther King. And so University of the People, and here it is, University of the People. And so, you could see here in collaboration with New York University, Edinburgh, Harvard, McGill. I don't know what that one is, but it's another one. And it's American accredited, and it's tuition free, and it's flexible, and it's all online. And if you go up and you look at their degrees, they have a bachelor's degree in computer science. And then they also have a master's degree in information technology. So you could get your bachelor's from here in computer science. And then you could also, if you wanted to, get your master's in business administration or information technology. Or additionally, there's another university, which is good to know about, which is Georgia Tech Master's Computer Science Online. And Georgia Tech has, and I forget which link it is, so I'm just going to open a couple here. Let me move this down because I can't quite see those. There we go. So let's see if it's this one. La-di-da-da-da. So here it is right here. And it's a weird link. I don't know, OMSCS Georgia Tech EDU right there. You can see the link. But it says online masters of science in computer science. And the cost is $6,500 USD, which is a lot. But if you apply to them and share your situation, and even if you reach out to faculty as you're doing your bachelor's in computer science at University of the People, you might be able to find some sort of assistance or support, or you never even know, you might find somebody who's like, we're going to let you in and let you run through it for free. So that's a really great place to get your master's in computer science. And then with a bachelor's and a master's in computer science from an accredited American university, and also as Mustaine has done amazingly, being able to connect and network with people all around the world, you never know what kind of opportunities that will lead to. So that's the first thing I wanted to share, was those resources. Does anybody have any questions about those?
Sir, we will come back to the questions later on whenever we
Sure.
these
Okay, yeah,
topics.
we'll keep going. And then the next thing I wanted to share with you was the number one factor for student success. And the number one factor for student success is grit, and it's not giving up. And so again, I'll share a couple of resources with you about that. So grit just means that when they study what makes students successful, it's the students who don't quit that are successful. And doesn't mean you have to be the smartest. It doesn't mean you have to come from people who already went to education. You could be the first time in your family going to education. It doesn't mean that you have to have money. What you need to succeed as a student is you just need that grit. You need that persistence. And so if you have that grit, if you don't quit, then you're going to succeed. You just keep going every day and you work at it. And so Angela Duckworth wrote this book about that. She studied this, and she became what is it, a MacArthur Genius Award, right? They gave her this $500,000 USD grant. They select these people for the significant contribution they've made to their field or to humanity. They just get selected, and she was a recipient of one of those for her work on this. And so this is her book, Grit: The Power of Passion and Perseverance. And it's really, what helps students succeed is really what it talks about. And you could read it or you could listen to it. And she also has a TED Talk. So if you go to YouTube and search for, Grit, Angela Duckworth, TED, right? You'll find Grit: The Power of Passion and Perseverance. So that's a really good thing that I recommend. And then one more thing, which I'll point out, is there is right here, this link too. So as you're a student and you're working on being a student, there's a free course here at outlier.org. And you can see the URL there, and it's on college success. And so some of the stuff will just be, about, but all the material in here will teach you how to be more successful as a student. Because often what happens in school is we go to school and then they give us stuff to learn. But what they don't give us, what they teach, they give us stuff to learn, but what they don't teach us is how to learn. We never learn how to learn. And so this course will help you learn how to learn, so you can learn more effectively, more efficiently, and use your time more effectively, and also how to navigate the entire educational process. And so this is another really great free resource for being successful as a student. So you've got Grit, you've got the TED Talk by Angela Duckworth, right? And then you also have this resource. So those are two really great resources. You could get your bachelor's, you could get your master's, and then also here's material for how to succeed as a student. You just keep going. And when you know that, when you hit those challenges, when you start to feel discouraged, when you start to get that imposter syndrome, like, I don't know what I'm doing, when you start to have that self-doubt, where it's like, I don't know if I could do this. Shakespeare said, our doubts are traitors, right? They betray us, right? Our doubts are traitors. When you start to have those doubts, you could just remember, I just have to keep going. Like, that's the number one factor that correlates with success. And if you just keep going, things that confused you, today, 6 months from now, you'll be like, those are totally easy. I totally understand those things that were confusing me 6 months ago. But now I'm completely confused by this new set of things. And then 6 months later, right, you'll be like, okay, those things that confused me 6 months ago, right, I got those now. But now I have a new set of things that confuse me. And you just keep going in the face of that confusion. And then over time, you suddenly look back and you realize, wow, all those things I used to be confused about, I now have a fair amount of mastery over them. So that's really important to know, particularly in computer science, because it could be complex and it could sometimes feel overwhelming. And it's a really well-documented phenomena that programmers can have what's known as imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is kind of like, it's like something like 60% of programmers feel like they don't really know what they're doing, and they don't know if they should be the ones doing it, but they keep doing it anyhow. And so, we're all always operating on the edge of understanding. And when you start to become comfortable with that, and you understand that if you just keep going, you're just going to keep gaining skills and gaining more insights and moving forward, then that helps you push forward. So those are the first two things. Last thing I want to share with you is about innovation and generative AI, ChatGPT. So maybe you do or do not know about generative AI, but generative AI is a pretty significant, very significant. Some people say it's such a significant development in technology that it's equivalent to the invention of the World Wide Web. Okay, so that's a pretty significant statement. And my brother-in-law, Google, the company Google's owned by Alphabet, right? Alphabet's a holding company, and Alphabet has 10 companies, about 10 companies. Okay, and so one of the companies Alphabet has is Google, right? Another one of the companies Alphabet has is run by my brother-in-law, right? So my brother-in-law is a really high-level executive in Alphabet, and I was talking with him last week, and he's the one who told me, right? So he very much has his finger on the pulse of technology, and he's the one that told me this is as significant as the creation of the World Wide Web, generative AI. And when he said that to me, it really gave me pause, because he knows what he's doing and he knows what he's talking about. And he said, right now, people don't even know what to do with this, right? Just like when the World Wide Web was invented, people didn't know what to do with the World Wide Web. Like, you know, what are the applications going to look like? How are we going to use this? What are the businesses that are going to triumph and succeed and be needed by humanity? And he said, that's kind of where things are at with generative AI. And so for those of you who aren't as familiar with generative AI, because it's a really new thing, generative means it generates content, right? It generates content. And it's a large language model neural network that costs billions of dollars to train. And currently they're at one iteration, and a new iteration is going to come out this year, which is multiple factors more powerful. And it generates content. And so that's really different than how computers have operated in the past. And so computers in the past, you know, will take content and combine it together, right? So it'll get a piece from here and a piece from there and kind of cobble those things together. So it's not generating content, it's just compiling and bringing content together. Okay, that's how technology has worked in the past. With generative AI, right, it generates whole new content on its own. So you ask it for something, and then it doesn't go get things that already exist and piecemeal them together. It creates something brand new. It generates something brand new. And so that generation could be like at DALL-E, where it generates an image. So DALLE is generative AI for image generation. And oh, you're still seeing my screen. I'm sorry. So DALLE, right? DALL-E is image generation. So you could ask it to generate images, and it creates this image, right? It absolutely just creates that image. That image didn't exist anywhere else. Like somebody said, an astronaut riding a horse in a photorealistic style, right? And it created that. It didn't like find that and bring it to you. It didn't find different pieces and put them together. It built that. And so DALL-E generates images. And you could also go, of course, to Chat GPT, right? And Chat GPT will generate, responses. So for any of you who've never seen it, the last donut debate is one I did with my son and I, we were like playing with this, and we said, create a play where Ladybug and Miraculous and Gru from the Minions are discussing which one of them should eat the last donut on Earth. My daughter and I were, right? Ladybug, oh my gosh, Gru, the last donut on Earth. But you could also do this like, I could say, hey, I want a new chat. And so for my new chat, I could say, create a discussion between Carl Jung, Sigmund, I don't know if that's a Freud, and Ernest Becker discussing who should eat the last donut on Earth, right? And so I enter that, and then it's like, Carl Jung, gentlemen, I suggest we approach this matter with some of a logical reasoning. After all, the last donut on Earth is a precious commodity. Sigmund Freud, nonsense, Carl. The last donut on Earth should go to the person who desires it the most. Our deepest desires are often hidden with the unconscious mind, and the donut represents a chance for one of us to satisfy that desire. Ernest Becker, I disagree with both of you. The last donut on Earth should go to the person who has done the most good in the world. It is a symbol of reward for a life well lived. Carl Jung, I see your point, Ernest, but I must argue with that our desires and unconscious motivations play a role in how we live our lives. By satisfying our desires, we can attain a greater sense of fulfillment and ultimately lead a better life. Sigmund Freud, precisely, Carl. And I would add that the person who desires the last donut the most has likely done the most good in the world, as their desires drive them to attain their goals. Becker, while I understand your argument, I must still insist that the last donut should go to the person who has made the most positive impact. After all, that is the true measure of a life well lived. Jung, I suppose we will have to agree to disagree. But in the end, perhaps it is not the donut itself that is important, but the way in which we approach the decision who should eat it. It's all created. And the interesting thing is those perspectives from each of those philosophers, what they're saying reflects those philosophers' perspectives, right? And so we could add absurdity into it, and we could say, have Mickey Mouse enter the room and eat the donut. What does Mickey, how do Jung, Becker, and Freud react to this? And what does Mickey Mouse say in response? Well, look who it is. Our dear friend Mickey Mouse has arrived. Freud, hello, Mickey. What brings you here today? Becker, hello, Mickey. How are you? Mickey Mouse walks over to the table where the donut sits and takes a big bite out of it. Well, it seems that the matter of who will eat the last donut on Earth has been resolved. I suppose we should have expected as much. After all, Mickey is well known for his insatiable appetite. Becker, indeed, but I must say I'm a bit disappointed. I was hoping to engage in a more meaningful discussion about the donut's symbolic significance. Mickey Mouse speaks with a mouthful of donuts. Oh, sorry, guys, I couldn't resist. It looks so delicious. Jung, no need to apologize, Mickey. We all have our desires, and you have simply satisfied yours. Freud, indeed, and I'm sure that deep down we are all a little envious of your courage to indulge in your desires. Becker, while I may be disappointed, I can't help but to smile at the joy on your face. Perhaps it's a reminder that life is too short to not enjoy the simple things. Life is like a delicious donut. Mickey Mouse, that's right, guys. Sometimes you just gotta let go and enjoy life's sweet treats. Wow. Wow, right?
Yeah, wow.
So what are the applications going to look like that are created with this? This is a truly significant opportunity that exists before us. And I'll point out another course which is on Udemy, which looks amazing. And so if you go to Udemy and you search for chat GPT, right? So maybe you could draw this guy into your community, and you could even say, I told you, Mustaine to reach out to him, and see if you could get free access to his course. But Chat GPT, build solutions and apps with Chat GPT. It's 6.5 hours, and it shows you how to start coding with Chat GPT. And so that's amazing. And if you take that and you build something, it could truly have revolutionary worldwide impact at scale. And Mustaine has connections to me, and I have connections to one of the top executives at Google, right? So you guys are a skipping stone away from, look at what we built. Can you help us get it to the world? And that's all because of Mustaine, right? Now that's no guarantee, but if you develop, something that is going to be able to help humans, that's going to find its way forward. That's going to find its way forward. And so it could sometimes be daunting, like, how do I make connections? How do I realize success? How do I bring something into the world? Baby, you got it. Mustaine. Mustaine knows me. I know my brother-in-law is one of the top executives at Google,
Yeah.
right? Like, all that matters now is, can you play ball, right? Can you go on the basketball court and get that ball in the hoop? Because if you could do that, if you could bring something forward that humanity's going to want, you have a pathway to bring it forward. Okay. And not only that, but like I have, like Joe Melton, my buddy that Mustaine also knows. He did a startup once that was funded by one of the top VC firms in the Silicon Valley.
Trim Draper. Trim Draper.
Huh?
Trim
What?
Draper. Yeah.
I don't know, what did you say?
Tim Draper. I mean the investor.
Yeah. Tim Draper. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I also, I have connections with some other people who, if you guys have something that's extraordinary, like I live pretty close to a guy who built a really successful software company. And, I live next to somebody else who was very high up in the Obama administration and, like is friends with Obama. So all you guys need to do, all we need to do is build. And if we build it, we're all going to be like new lives created for us. We're all going to be like, citizens of New Zealand, and it isn't so much for me about material possessions. So long as I live in a safe neighborhood with my family and I could pay rent and put food on the table, I don't need a private jet, dude. I will always fly coach. I don't care. Right? No big deal. Right? Like, I don't need a yacht. To me, I look at some of these billionaires. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're spending money. You spent $500 million on that boat. $500 million could help so many people. I feel disappointed in them. Like, if you want to get on a big boat and like have a good time with your friends, just rent, just like you got enough money, just rent like a luxury cruise liner for a week, right? You know, that $500 million could help so many people. So I look at some of these billionaires and I feel such disappointment that they have not used their money in a more humanity-oriented method, you know, because humanity could use the help. And so coming from that place of altruism and collectivism and looking at the greater whole as opposed to the individual, if we are able to create something, help others with what we create, and then generate money with which we can once again help others, like we could be an extraordinary force for, you know, not only creating better lives for ourselves and our loved ones, but also for all of humanity. And that is within our reach. That is within our reach. And all we have to do is create it. We have to think of it, and then we have to create it. And in 1 year, our lives could be phenomenally different. We just as if we were like, you know, and figuratively and literally, this could be the way it happens. You know, we just walk to the airport and get on a plane and fly to our new lives as New Zealand citizens, because New Zealand loves entrepreneurs who could create stuff, right? And then you're living just an extraordinary life with passion and love and joy and wonderful values of helping others. And so this is the call to action. If you look at the work of Joseph Campbell, who created the hero's journey, based upon which the Star Wars series was patterned by George Lucas, right? This is the call to action, the hero's journey. This is like me saying, do you want to go on the adventure? Right? The knights of the round table, King Arthur, right? Let's go looking for the Holy Grail. You know, are you with me, boys and women, men and women? Are you with me, right? I mean, like, we can do this. And you know, Mustaine has an entire group of coders that he's already trained, and you're being trained. Like, let's rock and roll. Let's make it happen. Let's build it. And so what do we need to build? When you look at innovation, there's two things that are really important. And so one of the things that's really important is to understand humanity and to understand humans, because all great technological advancements extend human capabilities. They extend human capabilities. And so an example of this is like the automobile, right? The automobile extends the human capability for motion. You know, and so previous to the automobile, we had horses. You know, you could just picture what riding a horse looks like if you haven't already felt that yourself, you know, the speed at which it happens, the discomfort on your butt after a while, right? Versus like getting in a car and putting on a little music and just cruising with the AC on, right? Like, you know, and going a lot quicker, right? Like, that's a really amazing technological development to extend the capability, the human capability for motion. The telephone extends the human capability for connection and communication, right? The internet and the World Wide Web extend the human capability for connection, communication, gaining knowledge and information and wisdom, right? You know, so you think about your own humanity, like, what is it that as a human you want to do? You know, what do you want to do? Like, you want to, you know, and so this gets like sort of psychological, and we're not going to, you know, completely understand all of what humans are or what they want to do. This is really just sort of like a catalyst for thought, right? For you to start thinking about, what does it mean to be human? What are my capabilities, right? Walking, talking, thinking, right? Providing for my family, social connection and belonging, you know? So it's a catalyst to start thinking about those human needs and how can we extend our human needs and our human capabilities with generative AI, with this new technology, right? And so that's a really high level conceptual overview of like innovation in everything, innovation in technology. And, you know, basically humans want to belong. They want to stay alive. And then they also want to keep the species alive. So those are three core directives of the human mind: is to keep yourself alive, keep the species alive, and to belong to a community. Our belonging is really super important. And that deep need for belonging is deeply intertwined into all technological development today, particularly social media, where we feel this human connection with others, right? So those would just be some places you could start thinking about what should be created. The second thing with innovation is that to innovate, you have to step outside the lines of conformity. You have to step outside the lines of conformity. You have to do what isn't normally done, right? So most people, you know, it's really hard to deviate from those who are around you. So when I teach this in the classroom, before I start teaching it, I'll go to the back of the classroom and stand on a desk and talk to the students from the back of the classroom standing on the desk. And most of them are like, what are you doing? Right. And I'll talk about something else for a bit. And they'll be like, now we're going to talk about innovation. Well, just in doing that, I'm stepping outside the lines of conformity. I'm doing what's not normally done. Normally, teachers come into the classroom and they stand at the front of the classroom and they teach at the front of the classroom, and the students sit in their desks and they take notes, right? Well, I completely disrupted that normal way of doing things. I innovated. I did something differently, right? And to do that, I made at first that made me uncomfortable when I did it. I'm totally comfortable with it now, but it'll often make students uncomfortable. Wow, this isn't the normal thing. We're doing things different. Yeah, we stepped outside the lines of conformity. We're doing something different. We're innovating. And so that's really important to know, that to innovate and do something different, you have to step outside the lines of conformity, and it will make you and others uncomfortable potentially, right? And it will disrupt the normal ways things are being done. And that might even, you know, make other industries uncomfortable or, you know, frustrated, because you're changing the way things are being done. So Elon Musk, you know, with the development of Tesla, really disrupted the auto industry in America. And that made a lot of people in the auto industry uncomfortable. Right. And, you know, he just kept pushing forward. He's like, I don't care if you're uncomfortable, right? This is the way it's going to go. And so that's some thoughts on innovation. Build stuff that extends human capabilities, come up with ideas that extend human capabilities. And then you're going to have to do things differently, right? Do what's not being done right now. Step outside the lines of conformity. And then the third thing I'll say is always start with the consumer, with the user, with the customer. Before you build anything, start with the customer. So I made this mistake in one of the companies I created, and the company failed. And I started with the technology, I built it, and then the customers didn't want it. And that was a significant expense and waste of resources, right? Before you build the technology, like go and find the customers and know the customers. And, you know, what do they want? How can I give it to them? You know, even try to do it manually. Like I met with somebody a couple of days ago and I was like, look, before you build any technology, just like find 4 customers and solve their problems manually. And then once you figure out how to manually solve their problems, now automate that with technology. So really that's important to have that start with the customer first thing before you build the technology. And that will save you a lot of time and resources. So those are just some fundamentals of innovation and how to innovate. And then once you innovate, you know, what are some of the things that might be useful with generative AI, and how is generative AI going to change the world? So you could start researching that. You could even ask Chat GPT, right? Like I haven't done this yet. This has kind of been on my list. So let's go do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do a new chat. And we'll say, what would be some good applications to build? Here, we'll do this. How will generative artificial intelligence change the world? Like, let's ask the AI how Gen AI is going to change the world. Some potential areas of impact: creativity in the arts. Generative AI can be used to create new forms of artistic expression, music, writing, and design, pushing the boundaries of what humans can create. Can be used in a wide range of business apps, from creating custom products and marketing materials to streamlining supply chain operations. Revolutionize healthcare, from drug discovery and development to personalized medicine. Education, create customized learning experiences, providing personalized content and feedback for each student. Manufacturing and product design. Potential to help us address some of the world's most pressing environmental problems, such as climate change and energy consumption. So this is super fascinating, this list. And it's using generative AI in the way that generative AI has been designed to be used, right? And it's really thinking outside the box. And it's really doing what most people aren't doing. Because if you go back and you look at this course on Udemy, this course is going to blow up. And it only has 936 students right now. This is how early you are in the game, right? This course is going to have, it's going to be huge, okay? And this is how early you are in the game. There's only 936 people worldwide who are in this course, okay? And then how many people in the world have thought, well, let's use generative AI to generate our new startup and figure out what the startup should even be? And so here, right? And I'm telling all of this with you because I want to collaborate with you, because it's not an individual effort, because I can't do it on my own, because I've got the dishes, the garbage, the kids, the bills, the job, right? Like at the end of the day, I could barely even get on this call. Mustaine had to hit me up so many times. I'm like, I'm so busy, right? And so it's like, all right, well, let's collaborate, because that's our superpower as a species, right? We work together. And so like music, like, wow, you know, is there an application that could just like look at all of the pop songs or like, you know, I don't know, whatever music, like, and then just start pumping out music, right? And so, you know, we could create this thing that pumps out new songs, and then, you know, we could create something that generate on a, you know, but like new songs, and then maybe it generates the music videos, and then, right, the new songs, the music videos, right? And then it could tailor those to each individual experience. So it's a whole new sort of music listening experience, like Spotify, where it's like, you know, it's super fascinating, like what's going to happen with that, right? You know, and this is also an often area that, you know, most people think, because we are consumers, we think about things that consumers would want. And so there's, I think, you know, business and commerce sometimes can be kind of dry and boring, because it's not like, yeah, I love it, new song. It sounds sort of like, I don't know, Black Eyed Peas, right? But, you know, that's exciting. We know that as consumers. But business and commerce, we're like, I don't know anything about supply chain, right? Or products and marketing materials, right? Like, you know, what's that going to look like? You know, is there some idea in there? And then also along those lines, something that wasn't talked about in here is the military. And so the military and defense or offense, you know, is a significant global expenditure. So how's generative AI going to impact the military? You know, propaganda, like if content can be created when you go to war, if you could influence the perception of the population, both, you know, your own and the people that you're at war with or competing with, right? Like that's a really powerful and important tool. So how will generative AI influence propaganda, right? Like so many ideas. And then there's even like, you know, thinking about not so much of a new idea, but how is generative AI going to influence social media? Like if, you know, all of the content on social media can now be generated, like I could have some service which generates my social media presence. So much effort trying to post, trying to get followers, trying to get people to know about my course, right? Trying to come up with ideas, taking pictures of myself, right? And so all I would need to do is like maybe take a couple of pictures every day. It would know my location, right? It'd have a picture of me, and then it could automatically post all of my social media, and it could put up some description, you know, of what I'm doing there. And then it can monitor it to figure out what's getting me more traction, right? And so, okay, cool. It's automatically doing all my social media for me. That's, you know, for anybody who's trying to do a business, build a presence online, that could be really useful. And then what does that mean for social media though? Well, it kind of means that social media, like we're already so overloaded with information that, you know, it's going to become nuts. there's going to be so much information. In some ways, social media might just collapse. Like it'll become pointless and it'll become meaningless. Like, do I really want to go and just look at a bunch of stuff that's been generated by computers? Right? Most people maybe won't discern this. Right? Most the common user will just think that that is actually, I don't know, who's somebody who's famous. That is actually Brad Pitt. That's actually Brad Pitt posting, right? And so the common person won't discern this. But you know, could it be that there's going to be so much information in social media that it'll no longer really be relevant? I mean, that's an interesting question to contemplate. Like trying to see what is this going to look like in 5 years? Like what's the world going to look like in 5 years? Like that's the big question. And can we build one of these applications, that allows us to really take advantage of, this significant, monumental, huge change in humanity? Will there be a shift in news and media? Also really interesting questions. So those are all super interesting things. And so one of the ideas that that my brother-in-law, the Google executive, or the Alphabet company executive, he runs one of the companies in Alphabet. One of the ones we generated was he needed to, his wife, my sister, they were planning a trip, and so he needed to generate. She did like a couple of hours of planning on the trip, trying to figure it out. And then she asked her husband, my brother-in-law, "What do you think of this?" And he said, "Generate an itinerary for me where I leave by car from Edinburgh, where I begin and end in Edinburgh." I don't know how to spell Edinburgh, apparently. Edinburgh, Scotland. Generate an itinerary for me where I begin a 5-day, generate a 5-day itinerary for me where I begin and end in Edinburgh, Scotland. Drive no more than 2 hours per day. Stay at the best hotels, eat at the best restaurants, and see some of the most beautiful things in Scotland. Just seeing if there's anything else to include in that. Generate a 5-day itinerary for me where I begin and end in Edinburgh, Scotland, drive no more than 2 hours per day, stay at the best hotels, eat at the best restaurants, and see some of the most beautiful things in Scotland. I think that's a pretty good request. And this, by the way, what we're doing here is a new way of searching. So we've all been trained to search in very succinct ways, right? Like, if I was to do this at Google, I would say Edinburgh, Scotland, countryside itinerary, right? Like that would be my Google search, right? But here it's really, let me be a little bit more, have more of a narrative, give it more information, communicate it more with natural language, the language human speaks, and just sort of talk to it. And somehow it figures it out. Wow. And so let's see what it comes up with. Day 1, arrive in Edinburgh, check into this hotel, visit this castle, enjoy dinner at this place, right? Day 2, drive 2 hours to the national park, explore the park's many walking trails, lochs, and mountains, stay overnight at Loch Lomond Arms Hotel, enjoy dinner at hotel restaurant, which features locally traditional. Day 3, drive 2 hours to the Isle of Skye. That's where my family comes from. Most beautiful islands. Visit the dramatic mountain pass. Stay overnight at this place. All right. Enjoy dinner at that place. Day 4, spend the day exploring the Isle of Skye. In the evening, return to this hotel. Enjoy dinner at this restaurant. Drive 2 hours back to Edinburgh. Note, this itinerary assumes you have a rental car and a valid driver's license. Make sure to check the local COVID-19 regulations. Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap.
What's wrong, sir? What's wrong?
No, so that's an expression of amazement in English.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. See,
Wow.
so it
Wow.
seems it's already there. So we just make an assumptions what might be the needs of a humanity, right? And these are the entertainment sector, right? Sections, right? News, I mean, travel. People spend a lot of money in traveling, right?
So my brother-in-law said, "This is great. You know what an application is that could be built right now?
Mm-hmm.
Book it.
What?
I could just click one button right here. Book it. Book it. Like
Yeah,
pay
yeah,
for
yeah,
it,
exactly. Yeah.
right?
So
And hotels are paid for, restaurant reservations are made, rental cars are ready.
yeah,
Boom.
everything
Right?
is it's a 360 view network. You see, everything is interconnected. Hotels, rent car, I mean, air tickets. You see, and the
Yeah, air
local
tickets, the whole
sightseeing
deal.
spots. Yeah, it's a and guide a lot of things.
Yeah, you could
Wow.
even have a human guide show up this time
Yeah.
period to meet you and talk to you, right? So are the travel companies that currently exist building this into their systems, right? What would it be like to build that application and get it up and running? What kind of relationships do you need to do that booking with the hotels? Like that's a pretty big logistical undertaking. This is something that a current travel company, Airbnb, or like I don't know,
No, Airbnb.
Travelocity.
In Airbnb, everything is not custom. You have to do it by yourself. But in our case, we are doing this on behalf of you. So we are basically saving your time, and we will give you multiple options like a recipe. You see, so we will throw you 5 different itinerary. Like let's say this is itinerary 1, this is another itinerary. The same using your details, we will generate 5 different itinerary details, and we will throw them to you, and you will just pick, like even you can customize among them, so this is how we may make ourselves unique.
But this is only one idea, and the most important thing is picking the right idea.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you need and then you need something that people need so badly that they find you.
Yeah.
Because if you need to go find your customer, it's hard. And often business is 50% creating the product, 50% getting people to know about the product and buy it, 50% creation, 50% marketing. And the more you can minimize the marketing and build something that people just need, right? Like Chat GPT doesn't have to do any marketing because people are like, wow, this is amazing, right? And then they're just going to it. Nobody has to tell anybody about it because it's just like it's in the news and it's so amazing
Yeah,
that
it's
people
a
are
mouth
like,
of
I gotta
referrals.
do this.
Even you sharing the Chat GPT to us, it's also another kind of marketing from Chat GPT, right? So they are getting
it's so
free
amazing.
advertisement. Yeah.
So recently there was somebody who built this company. She was a college student. And this is an example of making sure you build something like wheelchair covers for wheels company, college woman. Right. And so Izzy Wheels, right? So she created this company. She's like, you know what? Like wheelchair companies, wheelchairs should have covers. Right. And so she said, let's
Wow.
create these covers for wheelchairs. And then it was like, man, wheelchairs have been around for 100 years, longer. Nobody's ever done this. And like everybody likes to have a little personality and a little style. And these things look kind of ugly and metal. And now it's like, they partnered with Disney, right? And so you could come in here and like get Disney wheelchair covers, 149 euros, right? Or pounds or whatever that is. And now they just manufacture, and this company's huge, and she's retired basically if she wants to. She made so much money, right? So that's the thing. It's like find the right idea.
Yes, sir. And
find the right idea.
yeah, we have 50
and
people. We have 50 students. So if we all think about it and start storming our ideas on it, and I hope at the end we will find something interesting, or even we may meet up again another day for half an hour session. We can, yeah, so discuss
and
more.
discuss the ideas, and we could vet them. And we could
Exactly.
even ask Chat GPT, would this idea be successful?
Yeah,
Right?
so maybe
And
all of the students can bring their own ideas. We will find 50 at the first, then we will drill down and filter out from them, you know, and
send this video out to your previous students and
yeah,
say,
sure.
join us on this endeavor. And
Yeah,
so what we're doing here is we're crowdsourcing, we're using the neural network of our collective humanity and our collective brains to generate the ideas, to find the best 1, 2, or 3 ideas. And then
yeah,
when we find those ideas, I literally live in the same neighborhood with venture capitalists, right? Like
yeah,
there's a venture capitalist a couple doors away from me, another one on the other side of the block. And so I could just walk over to those people's houses and say, here's the team, here are the ideas. Which ones do you want to run with? Like if you give us, 20 grand, they could build it out and get a minimal viable product, have a meeting with the people involved. If there's 1,600 of us in Bangladesh that show up, he'll be like,
yeah.
all right, man, I'll throw 20,000 bucks USD at that. See if you guys could build that. And if we get an MVP, then fund it and boom, rock and roll.
Wow.
You
Yes,
know?
sir, and it's really possible. I am totally agree with you, because this is how idea gets generated, and and no one knows whether we are getting success or not by overnight. But yeah, still there is a possibilities, right?
There is. And so like here's a really simple one that also kind of came to me. So I haven't even run this at Chat GPT yet. I just sort of thought about it, but create a recipe for a chicken dish baked in the oven that includes figs, honey, and raspberry. Figs, honey, raspberry, and ginger. Figs, honey, raspberries, berries. What else? Anybody have? Well, I think that's good. Figs, honey, raspberries, and ginger. See what it does. I don't know if it could do this. The suspense. Have we stumped Chat GPT? This is interesting. This is the longest I've ever seen it wait. Here's a recipe for a delicious oven baked.
Oh, he's still thinking,
dish
huh?
with figs, honey, raspberries,
Wow.
and ginger. Ingredients: 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts,
Wow.
12 fresh figs chopped, 1 cup fresh raspberries, 2 tablespoons grated fresh ginger. Those look like good proportions. 4 tablespoons honey, salt and pepper to taste, olive oil for brushing instructions. So, wow, right? So maybe it's just a simple website, which is innovative cooking, right? Which is an API, which, allows people to choose their favorite ingredients. What dish do they like? And be creative with cooking, or generate an idea for me, which sweet and tangy, using beef or using chicken, cooked on the grill or cooked in, the oven, or cooked in a crock pot, right? Generate that recipe for me. Like build that website, and here's the website, and then it's an API talking to ChatGPT to actually get the generated recipe. But you have this nice interface where people can kind of, like, I want a barbecue, I want it to be chicken, I want it to be sweet and tangy. What do you got? Right? Is that value added? Does that really push things forward? There's so many recipes that are already created that are out there, you okay? Yeah, there's so many recipes that are out there. My daughter's homesick today. There's so many recipes that are out there that are already like, do we really need to create new recipes? The thing which is really interesting to me about this is thinking outside the box from a culinary perspective. Like, I really love food. I love interesting food. And like, so network error, we just kind of ran out. It's too busy or something, which is why it was slow. But I love food, and I love creative food. And, it's like, life is too short just to keep eating I've already had all these things. I've tasted all these things, but wow, raspberries, figs, honey, and ginger. That sounds pretty interesting, Like, I might actually have my wife cook that up. Let's try this. This looks pretty good. I think I'm going to do it, but, like if you create that website, then you drag somebody in, pull somebody in who's like a social media influencer, and you have them making a dish every day, a video, or we find somebody who wants to be a social, and then they're using it to generate some new dish. And then it's creating innovation and culinary innovation. And it's changing, how recipes and how it's changing how recipes work, and it's changing how restaurants work. And then restaurants are going to be able to, discover new flavor combinations, which are going to excite and amaze and delight customers, and so instead of the same old stuff, it's going to be like, wow, this is amazing, and maybe there could even be a New York themed restaurant where people get to go in and choose the ingredients, and then the chef creates that specific dish just for them, right? Like that'd be an amazing in-person location for this application, where you could go visit a restaurant that generates something that's really creative and wild and flavorful, and you get to experiment with it, without knowing how to cook. You could go to a place where that's built for you. So it could be an in-person brick and mortar, and also an online kind of business. And, and you could say things too, like, create a pizza for me, with Thai flavors, right? Like Thailand flavors, right? Or create a pizza for me with traditional Bangladesh dish, and so you could start to do this fusion between cultures and see what it produces, instead of having to and so that entire thing right there, like social media influencer to be creating a dish every day, culinary innovation could be the YouTube channel, right? Brick and mortar location in LA, New York, Shanghai, Tokyo, Paris, right? And then, the online recipe generation to help restaurants really innovate in cuisine, and generate new ideas, and to help people explore and experiment with food. Like, how many people in the world are foodies? Maybe getting the Food TV network to maybe do a special show on it with 6 episodes, like season 1, season 2, season 3, of people who are innovating with cuisine using this new thing. And so you get those 5 pieces together, you present all that to venture capitalists, you say, here's the idea, this is what we could build, this is how we're going to come to market, and stage 1, stage 2, stage 1 test, stage 2 this, right? Stage 3 that. Here's our 3 to 5 year plan for trying to really get traction with this. We really think that we could innovate in the culinary space, and that this could be an extraordinary thing, and then it'll be a place that people go to really, discover new food. And they could do that online, or they could do it in restaurants, and restaurants will use it to generate, really novel dish ideas. And then, and then we could market to restaurants, right? And so that would provide marketing opportunity to restaurants. Like, how do we monetize it? Marketing opportunities to restaurants, marketing opportunities on our platform. Maybe it even becomes something that we partner with these places that, package up ingredients and they're ready. So we could, so maybe it's even grocery stores. So we could connect with grocery stores. And when I print out the recipe, I could just say, have these ingredients ready for me to pick up at my local grocery store. And I just swing by on my way home from work and walk in and, here's your bag, Mr. McLeod. And they swipe my credit card and I have all the ingredients to cook that dish tonight, and I don't
Yes,
have to walk aisles of the
they
store.
just tear the package and right away, right? I mean, cook it away. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's opening the package and it's all prepped, I was thinking that it'd be more like, here's your cilantro, here's your lemon, and I have to actually, because but potentially that'd be harder because the grocery stores already exist, but people at the grocery stores prepping things and measuring things, that's kind of more infrastructure. That'd be harder. But like, that's a pretty interesting idea,
Yeah.
And so, wow, like, is that the idea that we run with? That's one idea,
Yeah, and it's
right?
pretty interesting because as it is related with food, everybody needs to, and everybody wants to try new food. That's the amazing part, So yeah, so that's the amazing part. So yeah, but the challenge is for right now, the challenge is to find the right influencer, and for starting something with connecting with influencer and create a lot of content, making videos, these are, I think, challenging. Other than nothing challenge, because we are our people cannot help to uh, cannot help in this if we, because we are geographically outside of that area, right? So we maybe help you to technically make the application done, any other graphical things, editing stuff, but we cannot help you to bring or connect the influencer because we are located in Bangladesh.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to think about that. That's stupid. That's super easy. That's super easy. I wasn't saying that's stupid, your idea. In America, there's a phrase that's stupid easy, meaning it's just really easy. So I corrected it after I said stupid and I said super instead, but I didn't want you to think that you're stupid, because you are not. You are absolutely not. But in America, there's a phrase stupid easy, which also means super easy. So that's super easy. And don't get caught up in the details of I mean, you definitely want to think about the details of implementation, but really what you want to find is that perfect idea, the great idea. and then like finding an influencer on YouTube to make videos, like that's $100,000 a year. And if you have an amazing idea, venture capitalist is going to be like, easy done, right? A video a day, right? And so you don't have to worry about that. The grocery store example, that's a bridge too far, right? Like now we have to have people in the grocery store who are going to prep vegetables. Like if it gets big enough, grocery stores will build that in, right? Because they're getting enough revenue from people ready for ingredients ready to be made. And maybe that's what would eventually happen. But to ask grocery stores to do that at the front end, that's too big, right? So that'd be too expensive. So you do think about it at that level, but really the main thing here is to, again, step outside of our boxes. So your box right now, one of your boxes is, I'm a technical person in Bangladesh, right? I'm a programmer. And, and to step outside that box is to realize anything is possible in the whole world. I'm going to be in New Zealand, right? And we're going to have, influencer in America and Los Angeles making a video every day. And we're going to have brick and mortar stores in Los Angeles, New York, Tokyo, Paris, and wherever else, right? Like that's getting outside the box. So don't worry about, get outside your box. So
yes, sir. I think I like this idea most. Right now we already discussed 3 ideas. One was about the travel. The second one maybe dish, 2 only. So I think this is the best one. Okay. So yeah, so far, I think you are good at generating ideas as well, right? Not us, but you, because within this 1 hour you generated more stuff, even with recipe, with traveling. Wow, so great. And if you all constantly searching and looking for ideas, I think definitely we'll come up with more, maybe tens ideas, then we can filter down to finalize the stuff. So let's make it another day, so we may even connect next week, depending on your availability. Okay, so whenever you available, you just let me know by email. I will create another calendar invitation and we will come up again. Okay.
That sounds good. I'm really enjoying this and appreciate you, Mustang.
Yes.
And I share all of that. I share what I've just done, that process, to really sort of illustrate the process of creativity and innovation, and using this new tool, this new technology that is so nascent,
Yeah.
is so new, it's so brand new, right? How to use it, and then also just how to innovate, how to really think outside the box. And
Yeah.
as humans, as adults, as we get older, we lose our creativity. The most creative people on the planet are under the age of 7 or under the age of 10. So ask the young people in your life, show them this tool, show them Chat GPT, say, well, how do you think this is going to change humanity? What do you think we could do with this? And there's exercises. You could ask Chat GPT, what are creativity exercises? Like, there's a creativity exercise with give me 10 different uses for a brick. And then you could ask ChatGPT to do that. And you could say, give me 10 more different uses for a brick. Like, that's a creativity exercise where you're practicing really thinking about using something in a way that people haven't thought about using it that way. Or you could do the same thing with a paperclip. These are traditional creativity exercises. So you could use ChatGPT to see what answers it gives you. Give me 10 ways, 10 creative ways a paperclip can be used that it isn't normally used. And then you could ask it after it gives you 10, give me 10 more ways, but restrict them to airplanes, or I don't know, right? Like you could just and it's really just this idea of like, let me just, explore, experiment, be a little absurd, and just ask it, like, really, bring different pieces together, because like in creativity, in creative industries, often what they're looking for is weird unions between disjointed things that don't always go together. And so like there's, like maybe we bring, rock and roll and we integrate the sitar with it, and it's like, wow, that sounds beautiful. The sitar, the harmonium, and rock and roll. What an amazing sound, right? And maybe there could even be like, Chat GPT where we say, make a song for me, in the style of, this is a classic Chat GPT query, make a song for me in the style of, the Rolling Stones, which includes the sitar and a harmonium, and have it talk about, the importance of living your life with passion, love, and a lot of heart, right? And then write the lyrics for that song too, and like, if we could ask it to sing, have Adele sing the lyrics. I don't know, right? Like if it could actually generate that, right? But like just really embracing that kid-like sense of, play and that spirit of adventure and exploration. So yeah, definitely let's work on this. Let's reconvene. Let's generate ideas, and let's come up with a bunch of ideas, and then let's discuss them, and then let's whittle that down to the top 10 and then the top 5. And then I'll take them over and talk with them about my neighbor. I want you to send me this video here.
Sure.
And I'm going to give this video to my neighbor.
Sure, sir.
I kid you not, I'm going to give this video to my neighbor, and I'll be like, hey, dude, I'm not going to say his name, but I'll be like, hey, dude, check this video out. It was totally fun. And I think there's some opportunities here, because I do think there's opportunities here, and I'm ready to progress from my college, being a professor. I'm ready to progress from that because I love this space, right? I've taught technology for so long, but it's like, nah, I want to get on the field and play. I've taught basketball. Now I kind of want to get on the court and play ball. So
yes, sir. And you also should move forward with people who love you enough. We are people who love you, who want to work with you. So yeah, it's a great match, right?
This means I love you in American Sign Language.
Wow.
I love
Thank you, sir. So
thank you,
sir. So you love me, we love you. So why not? Let's do something together and make it happen. Yeah.
And have fun while doing it and help humanity.
Exactly. And we will invite you once we're done. We will invite you to Bangladesh. We will group. We will all have a group picture together with a V sign.
Yeah, man. Well, once it's done, we're gonna all be living in New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah.
We'll buy 100 acres and we'll all build a house.
Wow. Who wants to live there in New Zealand? Raise your hand. Hey, students, please raise your hands. Yeah, me too. Raise your hands. Who wants to live in New Zealand? Me too. Wow, see,
And
look at the contribution. See the participants.
you could Google the Edmund Hillary Foundation, because that's the pathway into New Zealand. So I'm going to show you that.
Please.
EFH Foundation in New Zealand. Here it is, right?
EHF.
Partnering with for global impact. Community of 500 innovators, entrepreneurs, and investors committed to New Zealand as a base camp for global impact, right?
Yeah.
And so anyhow, they have a program here to bring people in to New Zealand and make them New Zealanders who are doing significant things. You know, you got to be successful.
Inshallah. Yeah. There are a lot of opportunities out there. Yeah, definitely. So, our main the key takeaway of our today's event is we are going to generate new ideas and filter out of them maybe 10 ideas. Then we will start this discussion another day, maybe next week, or depending on your availability, and let's fix them. That would be great, I think.
Yeah, I love it. And actionable takeaways are share this video with all of your current students in your boot camp and all of your previous students in your boot camp who are already working in industry programming. Share this video with them and say, you know, so they know, like, they can join and contribute to our collective process. I don't think anything in here has been so valuable that we want to, you know, collectively hoard it. And I also think that the opportunities that are available right now are so extensive that it behooves us to garner as many people as we can to collaborate and work together and generate with us and to be part of the team. And I also believe that it's in their own best interest to do so because of the connections you have with me and because of the connections I have with people in America. You know, so that would really, like, for your current students and previous students, that would really preclude them from saying, wow, I'm going to run with this and go create my own thing. If they do, fine. But I think they'd be more highly motivated to, you know, be like, oh yeah, I want to be part of this team effort Mustain's doing with Todd, and we could all build this thing together. And then as things start to develop and come together, we could, you know, look at who's going to be a part of it and how they're going to be a part of it. And if there's like 5 ideas that look amazing, we could break that up into 5 teams. And so just in a classical diversification strategy, you know, we could be placing our bets on 5 or 7 different potential opportunities. And we could all, even if we're working on opportunity 1, right, we all are, you know, have a collective benefit from all of the opportunities. So if our opportunity doesn't be the one to phase out, right, and 7, if our opportunity 1 isn't the one that becomes successful and opportunity 7 does become successful, then we all benefit from that, even if we are working on one of the opportunities that, you know, so it's diversification. And then we just shift those resources of people or whatever over to the ones that needed it and were looking more promising. But I think that's all a really amazing and pretty great strategy. And you have, you know, 1,700, 2,000 previous students who are working in industry in Bangladesh through our connections, me teaching you, you teaching them. And so I think that that's extraordinary and exciting and fun. And we have a lot of human, you know, processing power to draw upon. So get this video out to your current students, your previous students, and let's reconvene, you know, generate some ideas. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm just trying to think about how do we share those ideas, but I guess you could vet them and you could kind of look at them originally, and then we could, with the ones that are really extraordinary, we could like have the person talk about it, or you could talk to them and then you could synthesize it and sort of present them, and we could discuss them.
Yeah, of course. And meanwhile, could you please give me the ChatGPT course coupon if it is possible?
That's not my course, and I can't generate
sorry.
coupons.
Okay, so yeah, meanwhile I will look at them.
I'll reach out to him because I'm a fellow Udemy instructor. I'll reach out to him and I'll say, hey, I've got, you know, I've got a community of developers in Bangladesh that I work with, and I've helped them through my career as a Udemy instructor, and we're all really interested in your ChatGPT course. could you generate a coupon for us for free access for 1,000 people? And I'll see if he'll do that, and then I'll get that to you. So I'll put that down as my actionable that I'm going to work on until we meet again.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. So
yeah.
when we can meet next? Then next week? When is it? Can we figure it out now or later?
Yeah, now's good. You know, so my schedule is actually pretty wide open right now. Even though I'm super, I got a lot going on. I don't have a lot of actual like this time again next week would be good. Like
yeah,
next,
when?
what is today? Today's Friday?
Friday. Yeah, today's Friday.
Yeah, next Friday at 10
Next
a.m.
Friday,
again.
same time, okay?
Yeah, same time, same place.
Yeah, same time, same place, same people, but with new ideas.
Yeah, we'll just keep talking. And if nothing else comes from it, then we all learned through this process, including me.
Yeah.
And that is its own reward, right?
Yeah.
That is building our skill set, and that will lead us towards success eventually. But I feel in my heart, I believe, and this leads us into the last thing I wanted to cover, which is a blessing.
Blessing,
But
yeah.
you know, there's many different religions in the world, but I believe kind of like beyond, you know, for me, like it's been hard for me to believe in any one religion, and I respect anybody and everybody. Everybody has to find where they stand in relationship to that which is beyond our mortal material existence. And I respect everybody's autonomy and sovereignty to do that, you know, so long as, you know, your belief system is kind and compassionate and loving, right? Like totally respect that. But so for me, you know, I believe that I think about it as forces at work, which are beyond our understanding. And some people call that God, some people call that Muhammad, Ali, right? There's Allah, there's like, you know, Jesus, there's the Buddha, there's all these different things. Some people think about angels, spirits, right? I think about it as forces at work, which are beyond our understanding. And so last week, I really had a couple of, this gets a little bit metaphysical. And so metaphysics is sort of understanding the first principles of things in philosophy and the nature of the universe and how things work. So like, you know, what is the nature of the universe? How does the universe work? What is the nature of these spirit, you know, or forces at work, which are beyond our understanding? And then ontology is the philosophical branch of, the nature of being. And so from a philosophical, ontological, metaphysical perspective, I've really had a lot of experiences in my life, and Joseph Campbell speaks to this in The Hero's Journey, as does Carl Jung, and as does one of the, you know, greatest physicists who ever lived, who is one of the founders of quantum physics, Wolfgang Pauli, as do a tremendous amount of other people, including like, Abraham Maslow and the founder of humanistic psychology. That, you know, as does William James, right, who is the first psychologist ever and the first professor of psychology ever at Harvard University. Like they all speak to this thing about there are forces at work which are beyond our understanding, consciousness, you know, and they help facilitate and arrange things. And so I've had, like last week, I had a message that was sent to me, that was given to me, and it was let opportunities come to you. Let opportunities come to you. So this really feels like, oh wow, maybe this is part of kind of that thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of, maybe you've had these in your life where you have these little synchronicities, which are kind of like, oh, you know what, God or Allah or Muhammad or Jesus or the Buddha or the forces at work, which are beyond our understanding, they're like guiding me. They're looking out for me. Or the Native Americans would say, my ancestors, Mitakuye Yasin, they're guiding me. They're helping me. And I'm so grateful to those forces. And so I just want to end this by giving you all a blessing. And I'm gonna say, use the word forces because that's the way I think about it. But feel free to reframe that into whatever spiritual, context in which you think about it. So I just want to end with that blessing and also a Native American prayer for all of you and all of us. And so the blessing is this: I call upon all of my we call upon all of our benevolent ancestors and all of the benevolent forces in the universe to help us release our ego, to help us release fear, to help us love more fully, and to more effectively provide for our families in all ways. Please help us. So just calling upon all of those forces to help guide us and lead us and help us, love more and be more other oriented and less self-oriented, right? And to have more courage and less fear, and to guide us and lead us towards being a benefit for ourselves and for our families and for our communities, and to be forces at work on this planet, right? That are, helping move the human species forward. We're ready, we're willing, and we're able. Please help us, please guide us, please lead us, right? So that's the intent right there of that prayer. So thank you for this. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your wonderful time. So hope we all enjoyed this, and we will meet again next week. Hope we will bring something great, thus we may continue working on it, and we will finally meet you in New Zealand, inshallah.
Yeah, sounds good. And send me this video. Put all these videos up on a Google Drive and then link me
Sure.
to it. I'm also
Yeah.
going to send it to Job because I think he'd like watching this.
Yeah,
Job
sure.
Melton,
And
yeah.
don't forget to connect me to that guy, the Golang community guy you told me in the beginning.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, sure, sir. I'm going to at the end of our class, I'm going to upload it, and I will share it to you before I go to sleep. Okay.
Yeah, and let me make sure I've got my actionable items. I'm going to write them down. Hold on.
Yeah, please.
All right,
Please.
so I'm going to connect you with that connect Mustaine with
17th of February.
BK.
17th February.
Huh?
17th of February. I mean next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna connect you with my programming friend, and the next week we're gonna meet again on Friday at 10 a.m. I had another takeaway. What was my other takeaway? My other actionable item. Do you remember what it was? Some people are raising their hand. Some people remember. Who remembers?
Please.
Speak up.
আপনারা কি বুঝতে পারছেন যে কি বলছে টডের টেকঅ্যাওয়ে এগুলো আগের ওই সো lower down your hand if you don't understand.
Oh, but you could also take them off mute. You have to take them off mute.
Oh,
maybe.
Sorry.
The Udemy one. Thank you. The Udemy course.
Yeah.
Were there any other Udemy course coupon? Were there any other actionable items? I have the Udemy course coupon, Connect Mustaine with my buddy BK, and then the meeting next week, Friday, 10 a.m. I'm just looking in the chat here. Yeah, the Udemy one. Is there anything else anybody remembers that I was supposed to do? Cool. Saif, 10:35. Go ahead and just type it into the chat. If you remember,
I was going to say that you aged like a fine wine, because I know you from 2018 and I watched your video and your courses. So you just aged like a fine wine, and it is a very great pleasure to hearing from you. And actually, you give us a hope so that we can move forward. And inshallah, I will look into the ideas, so some of the idea I can find. And I will definitely share with the Mustaine sir. And thank you for here with us, and you spend time. It is a great pleasure for us and great inspiration for us also. Thank you, and keep up doing the great work.
Yeah. Any other students who want to ask the question to our sir Todd McLeod, or if you have anything to discuss with Todd? Yeah.
Before we jump in on that, I just want to make sure everybody else has their actionable takeaway. And your actionable takeaway, you have two of them for everybody. Embrace that spirit of adventure, exploration, and play like a young kid, and really start just experimenting and exploring with generative AI, and really thinking outside the box and stepping outside your box, and stepping outside the lines of conformity, and generating ideas and talking with people in your family about this exciting new development and technology, and talking with your friends and talking with the young people in your world, right? And showing it to them and say, what do you think, how's this going to change the world? What are people going to use this for? And show them all the different features, right? So that's your actionable takeaway from today, so that when we get back together next week, we really have some ideas. Okay, that's it. Now we could open it up.
Okay, yeah. So dear students, do you wanna ask any questions to our sir Todd, or if you have anything to discuss with, or if you have anything to share with, or how you feel, whatever we discussed today, you have any inputs which you want to share with us now? Anyone? Raise your hand, please. টডের কাছে আপনাদের প্রশ্ন নাই? আমি তো আগেই বলেছিলাম যে প্রশ্ন থাকলে
hello sir.
প্রিপেয়ার. Yeah, please go
Hello
ahead.
sir, you said the importance of generative AI like ChatGPT, how amazed it is. My question is, to creating generative AI, how much feed Golang for that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So generating generative AI, what about Golang?
My question is, to generating AI like ChatGPT or something else, or train big data, so how much feed Golang language for that? Like Python is creating kind of competing like that. So I have no idea Golang is how much feed for that type of technologies.
Sure. So I hear that as like, how does Golang relate to artificial intelligence, and does Golang work with artificial intelligence? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, similar. Like, as he is curious about, are we going to build our generative AI application using Golang or using other language? That's what he asking for, because this is a Golang coding bootcamp, right?
Sure,
exactly.
Okay. So different languages have different strengths. Different languages have different strengths, and we're not going to recreate like ChatGPT. That's a multi-billion-dollar application which we can use through their API and pay them a very small amount, right? Yeah. And so that's not our goal in creating something to create the engine, the artificial intelligence engine, Gen AI engine. And I'm making a distinction there because there's artificial intelligence, then there's generative artificial intelligence. And so, our goal isn't to create the AI engine, really. Maybe there's some AI that gets added in there that's not Gen AI that gets created for whatever we build, if it makes sense. But it's too big of a task to recreate a generative AI engine resources at this stage for us. And then, which language, different languages have different strengths. Which language do we use for doing something? It's a resource question. And it's also what is being done. So use the language which you know best and which is best for what you're doing, right? And so, this is the language, these are the languages you know best. These are the languages that are best for what you're doing. And then where they overlap, that's what you want to do. So sometimes you might say, I'm going to use Python because I know it, even though Go would be a little bit better for it. I want to get this out the door. Optimization number one is going to market, right? Is shipping it. And is just getting it built and making it work and having a minimal viable product and an MVP, which you could show people and say, look, it's amazing, right? So all of that said, Go is a great language for doing what Google and YouTube do, right? For building applications at scale, right? Which and it's really performant. And so, that means that you need to spend less money on deployment. You need less computers. You need less servers. You need less server farms, smaller server farms. And so Go is great for applications at scale, which is what we're talking about doing. But if everybody on your team is already like 5 years, 10 years of experience on Python, right? And we could crank this out on Python and we don't have to learn Go, let's build it in Python, right? Get the MVP out there in Python. And then once it's funded, we rewrite it in Go, So, the work needs to be done. MVP is the most important part. Coming to market and showing economic viability is the most important part. And then after that, if you've got something that's going great, then you really start to optimize the technology and say, okay, we're no longer going to have it in Python. We're going to rewrite it in Go because that's going to give us all these benefits. And to do that, we're going to bring in these rockstar Go programmers, But the most important thing is, again, like you want to create that thing that, we want to find that thing that is like so desirable that it has great economic potential. It could be $1 billion company, right? And so hopefully that answers your question. And Go is a great language to learn. It's one of the best languages to learn. So you're not wasting your time by learning the language. And your ultimate objective, I imagine, is to be financially successful, you know, and to be able to contribute to humanity and to be able to take care of yourself, pay rent, put food on the table, and take care of your family and your loved ones. And so, you know, the ultimate goal is about, you know, like what is it that can be created? And if we find that in this amazing new, you know, nexus of an opportunity, which Gen AI is presenting us, if we find that, then that is the most important question. All other questions are secondary.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, Tarek, go ahead. Tarek, do you wanna ask any question? Okay. So is there any other question? Yeah, Deepu, go ahead.
Mr.
Deepu. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Hi, sir. So thanks for your nice presentation. We are so glad and we are so happy to have you. And it was really a nice discussion. And this is the first time for me to listen some international teacher with live. So my question is, we can see with the time, new languages are coming year and year, and they create hype in the market, and programmers jump on that languages as well, sir. So actually, I want to know your thing, how Golang is fit for next 5 years or more.
Sure.
As always, new languages are coming.
Yeah, so Go
Go
has got a tremendous amount of potential. And I'm just going to start by showing the Stack Overflow Developer Survey. And you could put in whatever year. So it looks like 22, but it might not be there yet, right? But yeah, here it is. So you can look at this and it gives you a lot of really great metrics about, you know, visit anyway. Gives you a lot of great metrics about the programming, you know, ecosphere. And so this is a great place to start. Okay. So you could just explore trends in technology and pay scales and all of that. That said, Go is not going anywhere. It's been invested in heavily by the greatest technology company that's ever existed, Google. Google is being rewritten, a lot of it in Go. YouTube is all written in Go. You know, it's an extraordinary language built by extraordinary people. So Google looked at all of the world's programming languages and said, none of them are adequate for us. We're going to create our own language. And they hired some of the heaviest hitters in computer science to build that language, Rob Pike, Ken Thompson, and Robert Gressimer. And these are individuals who built, like, you know, contributed to the building of Unix, the Unix operating system, the most popular operating system in the world. They contributed to the development of the B and the C programming languages, right? They helped create, you know, single-handedly the world's most popular coding scheme, UTF-8. So these are people who basically have laid the bedrock foundation of computer science and computers, and then they created a new language, right? Because Google, the best software engineering firm to have ever existed, said create a new language, and they had the heaviest hitters of all times create it. And so Go is a really strongly well-built language. It's not going anywhere. If you invest the rest of your career in Go, you can work in Go for the rest of your life. And I say that with very strong confidence. Of course, the world can often be strange. And JavaScript is a pretty crappy language, and it's the world's most popular language. But, you know, but I think Go is a great bet, and you can't go wrong learning Go and spending your time on it.
Yeah, I hope you got your answer, Deepu, right? Are you convinced and satisfied?
Sir. Thank you. Completely convinced.
Okay, so yeah, Rubel, go ahead. 1008, Rubel.
Yeah, sir. I have a question. At present, I'm learning Golang, and Golang is very modern and popular programming language. But I like to learning Golang for blockchain. You know, blockchain is very popular, and the blockchain cryptocurrency are very getting very hype in previous years also. So what will be a learning path for me if I want to be a blockchain developer in Go?
Yeah, so I would encourage you to reconsider blockchain and to really focus your time and energy right now on generative AI. And blockchain is kind of, in my perspective, just food for thought for you as you make your decision. I forward this for your consideration. But blockchain has kind of been a technology that, you know, has been, it's, you know, and I don't really see as much potential for blockchain as I do for generative AI. And the difference between the potential in each of them is many significant differences in magnitude in terms of the opportunities and potential. And so I would recommend, for your consideration, I would strongly recommend going after blockchain and, you know, focusing on Gen AI. That said, if for whatever reason you just feel really compelled towards it, always also, you know, listen to your heart, follow your passion, follow your intuition. Maybe there's something there for you. Who knows, right? Like, you are the expert of you. But that's just a little bit more food for thought. Regarding Go and blockchain, I don't really have a lot of knowledge in that area. I know some stuff has been done with Go and blockchain, but you know, I don't know a lot about it. So that's all I have to say about that. I hope it's useful to you.
Rubel, you got your answer? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I got
And
it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
you let me just also add that you know, I also have a great love for blockchain in me, and I invested a significant amount of time just thinking about the blockchain space also. So you know, I also definitely appreciate where you're coming from with that and how it is a really interesting and unique technology. But right now the opportunities are so great with this Gen AI stuff. I think that's really the area to put your efforts, you know.
Yeah, in previous years, some huge company invest huge amount in blockchain, but suddenly dropped. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There's some issues. There's some issues with blockchain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
You know,
yeah,
it's basically just like well, you know, all of that stuff, but all right.
So any other students who have questions? Yes, Samuel. Yeah, Samuel, go ahead.
Hello, sir. First
Hi.
of all, thank you so much for your valuable speech. So my question is, um, we have different languages, for example, C Sharp and Java, right? So building web application using that languages, we have some default framework. Let's say for Java, we have a Spring Boot, and for C Sharp, we have .NET. But in the market, experts claim that for building application using Golang, uh, not to use some kind of framework. And I want to know what's your opinion on this? Should we build web application using Go with framework or without framework? Thank you so
Let
much.
me answer that, but I'm realizing I need to plug in my computer. So hang on one sec, okay? I don't want to run
Yeah,
out of
sure,
power.
sure, sure. Sure, sir. Take your time, no problem. So yeah, so Samuel, you are asking that whether you are going for a framework with Golang
Or
or without a
without
framework,
framework?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so here is my
exactly.
recommendation. Yeah, definitely Todd will going to answer your question, but my thought is go without any framework. Why? Because framework is a tool for advanced user, not for the beginners. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
as you are beginner, you are starting from scratch, so you should be starting by your own. You should learn the Golang from scratch first. Then, when you should use framework, when you have a lot of things to do with a shorter amount of time, that time I recommend you to jump into any framework if it is matched with your requirements. Other than this, go for your own framework, build your own things by yourself. This may take a little bit time, but it gives you a lot of new stuff which is very beneficial as a beginner students. Okay, yes, sir. Start, sir.
Perfect answer. That was perfect. Yeah,
You
it's perfect.
So
I have
Samuel, you
nothing
got
else.
your answer. So Todd sir also agreed with me that whatever I shared with you, he is agree with my recommendation.
Yeah, yeah. I also do agree with you, but depending on the answer, I have some queries. For example, uh, if we go for framework, let's say we are
Mm-hmm.
building web application using framework. Then what happened that in future we lost the capability of some expansion. For
Yeah.
example, let's say we are using a framework, something called ABC, then it might happen that we are facing some problem integrating some third-party tools. On the other hand, let's say we are going without framework, and what happened that if we don't use framework, then we get some lots of flexibility. And sometimes it happened that people use the flexibility and there is no rules in the code base. As a result, the code base lose the capability of maintenance. That's why the code base get messy. So
Yeah. I got your point. So you are basically asking everything has its own pros and cons, right? So
yeah,
yeah, if you come up with a framework, it has a pros and the cons is as well. But as a beginner, you should not be thinking like this way. As a beginner, you should be learn your stuff first, right? Then this kind of decision should be taken by the employer, should the project manager or whoever has the, I mean, whoever taking the lead of the product. It makes sense. So as a
yeah,
developer, sometimes you have flexibility to choose your own framework, and but in my experience, I see most of the times we don't have any options. So whatever our clients offer us, we have to stick into that. So yeah, so in my opinion, still you have to choose the scratch one without even any framework. But yeah, beside, once you become a master on these, on the basics stuff of Golang, idiomatic approach of Golang, then you may find frameworks. And for even if you go choosing any framework, you have to try with multiple frameworks first. Otherwise you cannot compare who is the best one, whose performance is best, right? So there are a lot of time required to test the best and fit framework for your job, I mean for your project as well. Make sense?
yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Jahid, do you have any questions?
Yes. Thank you, sir, first, because the great session you have just conducted. My question is, I always wanted to start a startup, and for that, I always think about generating ideas, but I'm unable to come out with a successful one. And whenever I get an idea comes to my mind, uh, it fades actually because of the difficulties I face to make them successful. Uh, and sooner I start to thought that I start to think that maybe the idea is wrong. So my question is how to generate a great idea, and how to select an idea that I have a few ideas, and how should I select that this will be better, and after selecting an idea, how to start to make what approaches should be taken to uh, make the idea successful.
Sure. Great questions. Um, so when I was younger, I used to really feel like scared of sharing my ideas for fear that I would lose them. What I've learned is that the idea is really important, but even more important is sharing the idea and testing it and articulating it and speaking it to other people, because execution is like 90%, right? And so you could have a great idea, but if you don't execute on it, it's going nowhere. And most people aren't going to execute. So the risk that you run of like talking about ideas with other people and sharing ideas is super low, that they're going to take it and run with it and steal it. I mean, does that happen? Yeah, that's happened, right? But you're going to increase your probability of success so much by talking about your ideas with other people, bringing them into the light of collective awareness of many minds, and hearing what other people have to say about them, vetting them and discussing them, and finding the weaknesses and the strengths of them in conversing about them with other people. So, the first step is to get your idea and then to start talking about it with other people. And the reason you want to talk about it with other people is because, one, that's allowing you to start to see how realistic is it, what other people think of it. You're actually starting to do some market testing when you talk to people about it and get their feedback. Is this going to be something that's useful? And then you're also going to start to create connections, right? Other people will be interested, and ultimately you can't do everything on your own. The idea that this is like a common myth is that there's the idea of the lone coder who builds an amazing application and becomes immensely successful. There are definitely case examples of that, but ultimately the most important way that things kind of come into the market is through great collaboration and teamwork. And so so all of us have strengths and weaknesses, and when you bring a team together and you have an effective team, that team has synergies, meaning that the combination of the individual parts is greater than the whole, right? So if there's 10 of us, right, individually maybe we would all have a strength of 1, so individually there would be 10 strengths, but when we're all working together we might have a strength of 18, right? And so the collective intelligence in teams that are effective teams is higher. So you could have a team of 10 individuals who have average intelligence, and collectively they could have higher and they operate well together. Collectively they could have higher intelligence than a team of individuals of geniuses, 10 individuals of geniuses who do not operate and collaborate well together. And so this is based upon the research at Google, Project Aristotle, and other research into effective teams. So the most important thing is generate those ideas, talk with people about them, right? Create connections, and and then find a team of individuals to work with. Because to do something on your own, it takes a tremendous amount of resources. I think about this as critical mass, like a rocket or an explosion, right? It needs a critical amount of fuel to achieve escape velocity, or to really critical mass explode, right? You need that critical amount of resources to really kind of get into orbit. And so the only way you could do that is if you start to access, for average and ordinary individuals like us who aren't already billionaires, but even billionaires, they just throw their money at it and get a big team and run with it. But you really need people. So generate ideas, talk with people, and develop a community of people who work together well, and then try to get those resources. But the path forward is really, it's like that idea, and then the connections, and then getting the resources so you have that escape velocity, right? So the connections would include resources to people with funding, and then at one small part of that journey is building the software, like, okay, here's the MVP, right? But really the journey is this larger process, right? Different people contributing their strengths and their resources to make it happen. Does that resonate? That's my perspective.
Yes, I didn't thought like that. Yes, your points are I think your points are valid. Thank you.
Man, because I used to do it like, let me code late into the night, code in the morning, try to build this amazing thing. I build it, and then I'm like, here it is, and crickets, nobody comes, right? Because it's kind of like, now there's got to be marketing. Now there's got to be money for marketing, So you really kind of have to be that proselytizer, that champion, talk with people, get people involved, and then the software is like one part.
Yes, I often thought one point that if I share with someone, he could steal my thought. But like others, I also thought that someone will steal my thought and he becomes successful. But
great. So like, they steal your idea and they become successful. That's right.
It's very rare. I'm not agree with that. It's very rare because Todd are already mentioned. Software development as a whole is very little for the in the journey. It's maybe 15% out of 100%.
Yes,
so
yes.
that doesn't mean. So let's say you have an idea. So I steal it from you. So without your implementation, I started implementing it. But by itself, software is not the big deal. There are so many other stuff: marketing, sales, the documentation, support, so there are a lot of things. So software development only 15% out of 100%. So that means still I personally still only 15%, not 100%. Makes sense? So still there are huge gap. If I steal the software idea, still there are no guarantee that I'm going to success. So there are a lot of things definitely. So yeah, I hope you got answer, right?
Yes, I got my answer. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. So we
Thank
have
you.
limited time, so we are going with other student as well. So Saif, you have 1 minute, so please raise your questions and get the answer, please, quick.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to say is that the generate. I wanted to add with Todd is that the generating new idea is like solving our own problem. I can share my story that I have a problem that I have limited money and I want to host my soft portfolio website, but I don't have enough money. So I face this problem. Then I think that if I face this problem, then many of the Bangladeshi people or the local all around the world may have faced this problem that they don't know about hosting and coding. So how can I solve this problem? So I made a product that is anybody can sign in and give their information and choose that right template, and they just boom, they got their subdomains with their name, and their portfolio is ready. So this is and one perspective of mine that if you want to solve come up with a great idea, then find your own problems, that where you have faced problems and how you can technically solve this. This is the best, I think. And all the way that I have worked in this coding journey, I always try to solve my problem, which is others' problems also.
Yeah, thank you, Saif.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's perfectly said. And that's a great contribution to this entire area of innovation that we've been talking about, is when you notice frustrations or challenges or problems in your own life that you want to solve, those are probably frustrations and challenges and problems that other people want solved. And so if you find a way to solve that for yourself, you're going to be solving that for others. Obviously, always kind of like talk to people about it, get different people's perspectives and ideas before you invest your resources, your time, your money in building it, right? You want to talk to people, try to find your first 10 customers or your first 100 customers. If I build this, would this be useful to you? Post, if it's a, website hosting software for people in your country, post to chat boards. If I build this, would you use it? What would it be worth to you every month? Would you pay $1? Right. So really get that sense of like, um, you know, vetting it and communicating about it to see if it'd be useful to people.
Yeah,
Great
actually,
contribution. Thank you.
I have already 1,000+ customers ready because I built the. I didn't do it all by myself. I have come up with this idea. I go to the right person who has a company with the CV makings. So he writing CV and the resume writing professionals. So I pitched the idea to him. He thinks that he has a lot more customer for these. They want to build their websites, so he partnered with me, and we I together built the technical parts. He's now dealing with software, the marketing, and the
The rest
people
of
to
the
connect
things.
to
Yeah.
the rest of the.
Yeah, thank you. So
Congratulations, Saeed. That's wonderful.
yeah, Saurav, go ahead, ask your question quick. We have limited amount of time.
Sir, thank you so much. Sir, as a student, I want to be a good developer. So, would you please tell me what should I do or which steps should I take care? Because it is a long journey to be a good programmer or developer.
Yeah, again, it's just that persistence and that grit and that's practicing every day. So having some structure in your life where you say every day I'm going to code for 2 hours and whatever that looks like, so you'll devote, 2 hours a day to it or however much you can, and then just do that every day. And, some of those, sometimes you might be watching videos, sometimes you might be reading a book, sometimes you might be building something, right? But just every day you do something, over time, you're going to get really good at that thing. So that's the path forward.
Yeah, sure, we got it right. So you have to practice every day and read book, watch videos, and build by your own ideas. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it.
Yeah, so who next? Hasif? Okay, so I think we are done with the question and answer session. So yeah, So, sir, we are after the end of the conversation, I am going to send you the videos, and you will send you will have 3 other tasks as well. So we will share each other.
One more. I'm going to send
Yeah,
that video
please.
to Molly at Udemy.
Yeah, Udemy,
That's my
Molly.
list.
Yeah, Molly.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So yeah, so we are meeting on February 17th at the same time, same location, with same people, with new ideas. Okay.
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah. So we
Nice,
are done
nice
today.
everybody. This was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Thank you so much.
আপনারা
It was a
থাকেন,
pleasure.
আপনারা সবাই থাকেন, স্যার যাক। হ্যাঁ, ওকে, টর্চ, বাই বাই, see you in next meeting.
See you next week. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Recording stopped.
Okay. হ্যাঁ, এবার বলেন আপনারা কেমন ছিল আজকের সেশন, কেমন লাগলো?